Have you ever wondered what happens when ancient traditions clash with modern life? Across the vast and diverse continent of Africa, there are traditions so sacred, so deeply ingrained that breaking them was once unthinkable. These aren't just old rules. They're the very fabric of communities, shaping identities and guiding life from birth to death. But what happens when the world changes? Let us journey into the heart of some of Africa's most fascinating forbidden traditions and discover the stories of those who dared to break the taboos. First, let's travel to the Maasai people of Kenya and Tanzania. For centuries, a young man's rite of passage, his transition into a warrior, was marked by a lion hunt. Armed with only a spear, he had to prove his courage and strength by facing the king of the savannah. This wasn't about sport, it was a profound cultural test. But as lion populations dwindled and conservation efforts grew, this ancient practice came under intense scrutiny. A new generation of Maasai leaders, like the Maasai Olympics co-founders, proposed a radical idea. What if they could prove their manhood through athletics instead? Competing in spear throwing for distance, high jumping, and running. It was a controversial shift. Elders worried their culture was being diluted, that the warrior spirit would be lost. Yet the young men embraced it. They found a new way to honor their heritage, proving that courage isn't just about conquering a lion, but also about having the wisdom to adapt and protect it. This change wasn't just about saving animals. It was about saving a culture by allowing it to evolve. Now, let's explore a taboo that's all about identity and destiny, found among the Igbo people of Nigeria. Traditionally, certain children known as Osu were considered outcasts. Their ancestors were dedicated to a deity, and this status was passed down through generations. An Osu could not marry a freeborn, share community resources, or hold certain titles. This caste system created a deep and painful social divide, a wound that persisted for centuries even after its official abolishment by law in 1956. For generations, love stories were cut short, and families were torn apart by this invisible wall. But brave individuals began to challenge this. Couples defying their families and communities chose love over lineage. They faced ostracism and hardship, but their defiance sent a powerful message. A person's worth is not defined by their ancestry. Activists and modern Igbo leaders are now speaking out more forcefully than ever, working to finally heal this division and emphasizing that all people are created equal. It's a slow and difficult process, but every mixed-status marriage, every friendship that crosses the line, is a powerful act of breaking a taboo that has caused so much pain. From social status, we turn to the sacred sounds of the spirit world. Among many communities in Zimbabwe, the mbira, or thumb piano, is not just a musical instrument. It's a sacred tool, a telephone to the ancestors. For centuries, its use was strictly reserved for men, who would play it during important spiritual ceremonies to channel ancestral spirits and seek their guidance. It was believed that a woman touching or playing the mbira would bring misfortune or disrespect the spirits. This was a powerful prohibition that locked women out of a central part of their spiritual heritage. Then came women like Stella Chiwesh, who as a young girl in the 1960s, felt an irresistible pull towards the instrument. In secret, she learned to play, defying the taboo and risking the wrath of her community. When she finally played in public, it was revolutionary. She wasn't just making music. She was reclaiming her spiritual voice. Today, many women in Zimbabwe and around the world are celebrated mbira players. They proved that spirituality and talent have no gender, breaking a taboo and opening a sacred space for everyone. Let's head to West Africa, specifically to the Akan people of Ghana. Here, a fascinating tradition involves royal succession. In many Akan states, the line of succession is matrilineal, meaning the throne is passed down through the mother's side of the family. The king's own son cannot inherit the throne. Instead, it goes to his nephew, his sister's son. This ensures the royal bloodline, carried by the woman, remains pure. For centuries, this was an unbreakable law. But what happens when a beloved and powerful king wants his own son to succeed him? Or when a community believes the king's son is the most qualified leader? This has become a point of modern contention. There have been instances where communities have debated this very rule, challenging a tradition that has stood for ages. Proponents of change argue that leadership should be based on merit, not just bloodline. Traditionalists argue that to break this rule is to unravel the very foundation of their society. This isn't just a family dispute. It's a debate about the nature of leadership, tradition, and progress in the 21st century. The outcome of these debates will shape the future of Akan royalty. Finally, consider the Himba people of Namibia, a semi-nomadic group known for the beautiful red ochre paste, called otjais, that their women apply to their skin and hair. This is not just for beauty. It symbolizes the earth's rich red color and the blood that symbolizes life. A core part of their tradition involved arranged marriages, often with girls being promised at a very young age. This practice was meant to build alliances and strengthen community bonds. However, as outside influences and education have become more accessible, a new generation of Himba women is questioning this tradition. They are advocating for their right to choose their own partners and to continue their education. They argue that while they cherish their Himba identity, they also deserve the same personal freedoms as anyone else. This creates a delicate balance. How do you preserve a unique way of life while embracing individual rights? These young women aren't rejecting their culture. They are trying to find their place within it, on their own terms. Their courage is redefining what it means to be a Himba woman in the modern world. From Maasai warriors becoming athletes to women playing sacred instruments, these stories show that culture is not a static monument. It's a living, breathing river. The taboos that were once absolute are being questioned, bent, and sometimes broken by courageous individuals. This process can be challenging and painful, but it's also a source of incredible strength and renewal. It shows the resilience of African cultures, their ability to adapt and evolve without losing their soul. These are not stories of traditions being erased, but of traditions being reimagined for a new world. What do you think? Should ancient traditions be preserved at all costs, or should they adapt to modern values? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you found this journey as fascinating as I did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories that challenge our world. See you next time.